How do we unconsciously use our kids to solve our own inner problems? My name is Lana Bugela, I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm a mom of 3 amazing kids. And in this video, I will talk to you about our own problems that we put on the shoulders of our kids. And this video will be a little bit deeper than maybe you used to see or know, and it will touch some parts of your soul, maybe some painful parts of your soul. So just get ready. If you are too emotional, you can think like, okay, she's talking nonsense. It's all not true. And when you feel this energy inside of you, just stop right there and think, why do you have that protest? Why do you have that negativity inside of you? Because usually we have this problem inside, like an anger or some kind of an outburst when we don't agree with something. It happens when really there is problem that is not solved, and that's how we are trying to calm ourselves down in a manner that actually doesn't serve us, but still we are taking away that pressure. When someone just puts something on our pain, it's like, a little bit of salt on your inner pain. So today I won't be like nice, I will talk to you directly and say, what are we doing every day? And your task right here is not to agree or disagree, but try to think out of the box. Try to think, okay, how can I use this in my life? How can I use what she's talking about in my everyday communication with my kids? And that will help you a lot. Instead of being defensive, aggressive, or something like that. Okay. I work with a lot of clients and all my clients are adults. But when we do a regression, when we go to the root cause of any problem, we find there an immature child. And this is where our limiting beliefs are formed. We are not forming them right now, sitting with you here. Now we are only reinforcing something and we want to change, of course, but when we have that deep inner root cause, it's just there. So you can practice a lot of affirmations or positive thinking, but still that root is there and it will grow. Eventually it will in some situation. And what I'm trying to say here that of course positivity is nice, some kind of affirmations are nice, but still you need to think all the time deeper and to find the root cause, to take it out of there. And when there is no root cause, then nothing can elicit a response. So you can understand that everything is clean and nice when lately you've been touched by something, and when you worked on it, you are not touched by that anymore. So it doesn't elicit a response inside of your body. So that's what I'm talking about. If in this video I will tell something that will elicit a response inside of you, it just means that there is a root cause. It's still there, some kind of pain, some kind of trauma, some kind of a limiting belief that you are maybe even not aware of. So your task is just to be here, to be present, and to understand why do you feel this or that. So working with a lot of clients, as I said, we're going back in the regression to the root cause of the problem. And there we can find an immature child who is making some limiting beliefs, because this is the way to adapt to the place where we are. So when we are born, we need to adapt to a family, to a surrounding, to everything that just in our life. Because all families are different. And even a good family doesn't guarantee that you will be free of limiting beliefs. Because even in a good family, you make your own conclusions. Your mom can say, okay, I'm sorry, my sweetheart, but today we're not going to a birthday party. And you just sit there and think, she doesn't love me because I want to go there. And she just doesn't understand what I'm talking about. And that is the place to form a limiting belief, because you start to see your mom as someone who doesn't understand you. And if your mom doesn't understand you, the whole world will not understand you, and it can make a chain reaction. So it is possible. It's not like 100%, because everybody is different and everything depends on the time when you've been in your mommy's womb. It depends on the time of labor. How did you get through that process? It depends on the time when you were like in the contact with your mom when you were a newborn. And so a lot of things influence that place where you are sitting there on the chair and mommy says like, no, we are not going to that birthday party. And whether you form there a limiting belief like, okay, my mom doesn't love me, the whole world doesn't love me, I need to earn that, and so on. Whether this belief is formed or not, it depends on your previous experience. So it's all like a chain reaction, you know? So what I'm talking about here, we are all traumatized in some kind of sense. I don't like this word, but I cannot find something that will have that meaning, but not as negative as we have like saying trauma, because actually it's not a trauma, it's an adaptation. It's the process when we adapt to everything that surrounds us. So let's name it trauma, but it's not as negative as we used to think. So we all have those conclusions, those limiting beliefs from our childhood. And when we grow up, this is the case when we are not traumatized in a real sense of this word, because there are a lot of people who are traumatized, who had dismissive parents, narcissistic parents, narcissists, who had parents who didn't just give a piss about their kids, molested children, raped children, and so on. So we have a lot of people who were damaged being a child. And we have a lot of people who are like from a normal, kind, loving family, but still they have those limiting beliefs. And so I just can't say that this is the same trauma, you know, the trauma is different in those situations. So what I'm trying to say here, everybody has that experience. We are like, you know, we are formed the way we are due to our own those limitations that we placed in our head being a kid. So now I can tell you, how do we use our own children? Because our parents used to use us as a tool to, you know, to reinforce their own limiting beliefs or to try to put a happy ending on their limitations. And the same with us. We continue to do it. So let me give you here a clear example. A mom who wants her child to be successful, like a normal example, not about like something bad, you know, but a normal example. Every mom wants a child to be successful, to be happy, successful, to be rich, to be well, yeah, like, you know, like to have that well-being. And of course, we all think about that, but that sometimes comes out of our own trauma, our own experience. Like, you know, I meet a lot of people who say, okay, I didn't have that in my childhood. I want my kid to have that because I didn't. I want my child to have those time with parents, traveling across the country, you know, that bond, because I didn't see my parents at all and I was suffering. And I want my kids to see me, I want to be there. But it turns out that their kids, they just don't want that type of connection. They want more time with friends, they want more hobbies, they want more other types of experience in this life. And that conflict is so profound. That's because we try to use our kids to clear that traumatic experience from our childhood. Do you hear that? So if you are traumatized by not having your parents next to you, you are trying to put that trauma on the shoulders of your kids. When you say that I want my kids to have me all the time around. And it doesn't mean that it is bad to be around your kids if you're trying to type that comment down like, oh, she says that it's bad to be next to kids. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that there is some state out of which we are trying to do this or that. So this state, when a parent tries to, you know, to fulfill their own dream, like I dreamt to have my parents around, so I'll do that for my kids. But your kids, they didn't have that experience of you not being around them. So they don't have that void because you were around. And they want another thing that they have a void of, like they don't have enough of hobbies. They don't have enough of me time. So they want this. And they will get their kids, they eventually will get to that part of their life when they are parents, and they will say, okay, I didn't get that enough me time. My mom was always there, like I felt that pressure of my parents around me. So I will give to my kids that freedom. They will be able to do everything they want, and I will do everything I want because I couldn't do that. I was just dragged by my parents here and there on those vacations and so on. I'm so tired of that. So I will go and pursue my own dream. I will become a singer, an actor, and just put something there. And my kids will have their freedom. Guess what? Those kids, they sit and think, oh my God, my parents are so dismissive. They don't like me around. They're so obsessed with their own hobbies. They don't pay attention to me. And then they think, I won't do that to my kids. My kids will have so. So guys, this is the way we are just putting our own traumas on the shoulders of our kids. We are using them unconsciously. And we just name it like, I'm doing that for their own good. I'm doing that because I know how it feels not to have this or that. And sometimes, of course, this chain reaction can be different. For example, that mom who hadn't that experience with her own mom, she gives it to her daughter, and the daughter thanks God I have such a nice mom. Yeah, it can be so. So this daughter can just feel, yeah, I'm good with it. Thanks, mom, that you are there, that you are present. This happens in case when that mom does it in balance. So she doesn't go nuts around her daughter and say, okay, I'm obsessed, I will be there all the time and blah, blah, blah. No, she gives that attention that she didn't have in her own childhood. But at the same time, she gives that freedom. So the child is balanced. And this happens usually when a parent is mature enough, when the parent is working on their own traumas, traumatic experiences. You can go to a hypnotherapist and just work it out, and you will see that there is a balance. You don't need to be obsessed with those traumatic events that you had in your childhood and obsessed with not putting them into your kids' childhood and so on. So it happens when a parent is balanced, and it doesn't happen when a parent is not aware. So usually I see the first type, and it's a rare situation to have a second type. So that's how we use our own kids to treat our own traumas inside of us. And it's not nice because at the end, we want good for our kids, but they don't get that goodness. They get that other type of void because it's not balanced. Because it's selfish to do so. What is the mature thing to do here? Just to stop yourself right now and say, okay, I have this trauma, but it doesn't mean that my child has it too. I can be balanced there. I can be present, but I can give freedom. I can be very friendly parent, but at the same time, I can set the boundaries like a parent, not like a girlfriend to my daughter, but to be there, to have that trust, but still to be an adult in our relationships. So when I see it, I understand that it is possible, and I'm acting out of not traumatic events, but more realistic way, when I see the things they are. And this is actually difficult because when we have the trauma, it just rules us. We are like puppets because it's a void inside of us that make us do this or that. You can call it like this. Yeah, it sounds horrible, horrifying. But when you just start to understand that, you start to be more aware. This is the point from out of which you can grow. Without understanding where you are, you just can't start growing. You continue to do what you've been doing before. So this is the first thing, how we can use our kids unconsciously. The second thing, how we are using our kids, like our tools, is to, when we have some problems in another area of our life, we come back home and we put that pressure from other parts. I like to call it like when we've been like shot somewhere else, like wounded, and we just drag our bodies home and just think about metaphorical way, you know, like we drag our psychological bodies, like not real bodies, but real with a psychological body together. We drag it home, and that psychological body bleeds, and it bleeds on our kids. For example, your boss was like a horrible boss. Your boss said, okay, you won't have any weekends, you will work, otherwise you will lose your job, and your boss coerced you to stay at home, at the work, and so on. And you tried to balk at it, but it didn't work, and you had to stay, and you just came home pissed off, tired and pissed off. And your kid like is loud, noisy. Your kid is like, you feel like your kid is going crazy around, and you can't stand that. It's like unbearable. And you start to shout at your kid. And your kid is innocent. So your child didn't do anything bad. They were just behaving and enjoying themselves. They were like feeling nice, and you felt like they are reveling at your pain. And that was the time when you understand, okay, no, I can't stand that. And you started to shout, to scream, and so on. So you used your kid like a punching bag. Because you had that energy inside, like a bad one. You couldn't say that to your boss, like, I don't like what is happening here. You just couldn't do that. So you took that pain home, that bleeding psychological body, and you let that body bleed on your family. That's what happens all of the time. I see it so often. Because, you know, we are not aware. And of course, parents afterwards, they say, oh my God, I was so bad with you, I'm so sorry. And they feel guilty. But still, the solution here is to work on yourself. Why do you have that job that is killing you? Why do you think about your job like that kind of the job that is killing you? Why do you allow your boss to treat you like that? And it all comes into your subconscious mind. And when I do sessions to such parents, we regress them to that insecurity problem. So I choose this job because I think I'm not capable of another one. Subconsciously, I don't like this job, but it pays my bills. So as soon as it pays my bills, I won't go anywhere else. I'm not happy, I'm not fulfilled, and I'm using my kids to put on their shoulders that feeling of like when I'm so pissed off, when I'm so sad, I'm so not fulfilled, and I'm sorry that my life is like that. That is underneath that anger and so on, that feeling of sorry, I'm sorry that my life is like that. And I put it on the shoulders of my kids. I'm not solving why is it so? Why do I feel like that? But I continue living that life. I'm calling that life, you know, life happens. Welcome to adulthood. I can even be sarcastic with my kids. My kid can say, Mom, why you don't change your job? Like, why don't you go somewhere else if you don't like it? And you sit there and say like, okay, kid, this is the life. Welcome to adulthood, blah, blah, blah. And you're trying to like validate your own feelings, your own miserable attitude, and say, okay, this is like that. And you will be there too. And you're putting those limiting beliefs on your kids. So the thing is that you should work out your own trauma. Why your life is like that. Why you are not satisfied, you are not happy. And this is the problem. Not your boss, not your kid, but you. And why did you put yourself into that place? That's the thing. So these are like two most common ways how do we use our children unconsciously. And the thing is here that we are not solving our problems. We are trying to solve our problems. In the first case, we are trying to do something for our kids that we didn't get, and that is like to put a happy ending on our own trauma, like to solve our trauma with the help of our kid, but our kid doesn't value that. And we feel even more miserable at that point. Like I tried in my life, it didn't work. I tried in your life and it still didn't work. And that's how I'm like, oh my God, what I'm gonna do about that? What am I gonna do about that? Nothing. And like, that's it. You know, and it doesn't work, but somehow we still continue doing that. And another case, as I told you, when we are wounded somewhere else, but we are bleeding on our kids. And this is how we are trying to take away that pressure. We are trying to validate our own feelings. We are trying to validate being sarcastic, being rude, being dismissive, being like that parent who is not there actually, because we are in our own problems. We don't understand anything about our child, we are thinking about ourselves. How do we do there? How do we feel there? What's about us and not about the kid? So guys, if this video was a little bit hurtful, I understand, because a lot of us who are like, you know, not aware, this can be really like eye-opening if you want it to be, if you're not closing, if you're not trying to say, no, that's not about me and so on. Even if it's not, you know, in those words in your life, if your life is more calm, but you still feel that you are doing this or that here and there, it's also a point to grow, you know, so we can be not so dramatic. As I told you in these examples, it can be less dramatic, but still it is there. So just trying to find those ways you are treating your kid in order to solve your own problems. And try to think, okay, out of which state am I doing that? And it will always be about you, out of state of that child who was not satisfied in those years before, or out of that state of I have a miserable life. Some kind of state is there, just trying to find it. And it's not about anyone else. And when you start just to notice, stop yourself there and ask yourself, okay, do I want to act out of this state? Or do I want to act out of this state of a good parent being present for the kid there and like trying to do everything that will help my kid to thrive? Where am I? Where am I going? Does it help or not? Like try to be more aware of your actions, your feelings. And of course, if you can, you should work out your traumas, your traumatic events. I will talk about it more in this channel, so please subscribe if this topic is interesting to you. I plan to go deeper and deeper and deeper into everything about our subconscious mind. Drop me a comment below if you like this video, what specifically did you take out of this video and what will you put into your life. Maybe you are mad at me, so write it down. Maybe you are happy to hear that, also write it down. It will be very, very important for me to read those comments and of course to respond and of course to understand that this topic is valuable, you are interested, and I will continue doing that. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.